Testing, testing.
Mr. Bullock,
Yes.
All right, great. We got you. Commissioner O'Donnell, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yep, thanks. Mr. Bullock? Can you hear us?
Is that for me, Mr. Bullock?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, we're good.
All right, welcome to the Public Service Commission's administrative meeting for November 1st, 2023. And we have minutes from our meeting of October 25th to approve. Commissioner Sushman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbe.
Aye.
Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Secretary.
Morning, Mr. Chair. There's one item on today's consent agenda. It's a bond cancellation for Watchwire LLC from Hartford Insurance Company.
And so I move that we cancel the company's electricity supplier license. Commissioner Sushman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbe.
Aye.
Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Mr. Chair, item number 2 on the administrative agenda consists of tariff revisions from IDT America Corp.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Pam Coates on behalf of staff. IDT America Corp. has been providing competitive local exchange services in Maryland for the last 25 years. On June 29, 2023, IDT filed revised tariff pages to bring its 8YY charges into compliance with an FCC order. Staff has confirmed that the filing was timely and that all changes comply with the FCC order. However, at the time of the filing, the company was in forfeited status with the Maryland State Department of Assessments and Taxation, SDAT. The company was returned to good standing on October 12, 2023. I'm sure you've read staff comments, so I will not walk us through the series of interactions between staff and the company during the intervening 3.5 months. However, there are 2 points I would like to make. First, IDT was in good standing with SDAT for the first 20 years of their service to Maryland customers. Since then, however, IDT has fallen into forfeited status twice and has been in that status for nearly 4 of the last 5 years. Second, staff's ability to work with the company was delayed because the contact information provided with the filing was for a person at Intercera, a third-party provider of services. Once staff was able to reach the company directly, IDT's regulatory counsel, Mr. Billick, who is representing the company here today, worked with staff in a prompt, professional, and cordial manner to remedy the company's SDAT situation. Therefore, staff recommends the company accept the commission accept the company's revised tariff with an effective date of November 1, 2023. Staff further recommends the commission require the company to file with the commission a certificate of good standing by November 30 in each of the next 5 years. Staff further recommends the commission require the company to include in all future commission filings contact information for the person or persons at IDT America to whom inquiries from staff should be directed. Thank you, and I'm available for questions.
Any questions for staff? Mr. Billick, do you have any reaction to staff's?
Mr. Chairman, I had,
Oh, okay, so I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead, Tony.
so really it's more of a comment to say, Mr. Bullock, we appreciate you being here very much. We appreciate you working with staff to rectify the situation. But part of your compliance is any material change. I would think a change in contact information is material change to your license, and And therefore, you're technically, I think, and I'm only speaking for myself, not a legal opinion, but I think you're in non-compliance, and that's not satisfactory. And I didn't want to let that go by for anybody to think, well, we've minimized this and we're moving on. It's not. It's important stuff to me. Do you understand that? Does your company understand that?
I do. I've been regulatory counsel for about the last 23 years, although I wasn't when the initial inter-exchange carrier application was filed. I was counsel when our CLEC application was filed. I guess my question to you is, would you like for me to formally submit something to the commission informing them that I am the appropriate corporate contact person?
Well, the chairman will let you know that. I just wanted to share my personal opinion with you regarding the nature of that information. A lot of people would say, "So what?" I say, "No, it's part of your compliance."
No, I understand completely, and I've spoken in the past with Ms. Coates, who I should note, for the record, has been incredibly helpful and considerate in resolving this relatively painlessly and as quickly as possible. And I do know that part of the problem was that the company that files our tariffs was informed of our status, and they didn't pass that along to me, which led to some of the delay in getting the company in good standing. So if the commission deems it appropriate for me to formally notify them of our status, I'm more than happy to do so. But I understand that it is certainly part of the problem here, and will rectify it any way the commission deems appropriate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all.
Okay. Any other questions from any of the commissioners? Okay, so with that, I will move that we accept the tariff revisions for filing with an effective date of November 1, 2023, that we further direct the company to file with the commission a certificate of good standing by November 30, 2023, and November 30 in each of the next 5 years, and that we do direct the company to include in all future commission filings contact information for persons at IDT America to whom inquiries from the staff can be directed. So let's start with Commissioner Sushman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbe.
Aye.
Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Mr. Chair, items 3 through 7. Oh, sorry.
No, one question on that. Should we sort of jump ahead and deal with the other two items, and then we can wrap this up? Okay, so.
Okay, so we'll move now to item number 8. It's a notification of debt issuance from Chesapeake Utilities Corporation.
Good morning, Chair Hoover and Commissioners. Alden Manka on behalf of staff. On October 3rd, 2023, Chesapeake Utilities Corporation filed a notification of debt issuance regarding the company's intent to issue new long-term debt securities and common stock to fund capital expenditures, future acquisitions, and/or working capital requirements, including repayment of existing long-term debt. The company has stated one of the reasons for this issuance is to fund the acquisition of Florida City Gas. The company states that pursuant to the exceptions in PUA 6-101A4, the company only needs to notify the Commission of the debt issuance with which staff agrees. The statute that governs these transactions provides explicit exceptions to the requirement that the Commission authorize the transaction. These exceptions apply to companies that have total annual revenue less than 3% of the total revenues of all public utility companies in the state for the past year. The exceptions are, first, that the debt issuance was already approved by another state, and second, that the company provides prior written notice to the Commission. Here, all requirements have been met, with the Delaware Public Service Commission authorizing the debt issuance on October 25th, 2023. As a result, the Commission's authorization is not required, and therefore staff recommends that the Commission note the filing. Thank you, and I am available for questions.
Anybody here from Chesapeake?
Good morning, Chair Hoover and Commissioners. Christopher Gunderson from Venable on behalf of the company. We appreciate staff's review, have no further comments, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
So, any questions from anyone? All right, so I will move that we note the filing by Chesapeake Utilities Corporation. Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barve.
Aye.
Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Mr. Chair, item number 9 is an application from Fort Apartments LLC for approval of an energy allocation system.
Morning. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Michael Spiegelman on behalf of staff. This item concerns a request filed on June 23rd, 2023 by Fort Apartments LLC to install an energy allocation system. The system is for 223 unit apartment building located at 1401 Porter Street, Baltimore, Maryland. Public Utilities Article Section 7-304B2 states that an energy allocation system may not be used for direct billing of energy costs to a tenant or an individual dwelling unit unless the Commission approves the system in accordance with this subsection. Comma 20260201 further specifies general approval criteria for an energy allocation system, namely, first, approval may be granted upon demonstration by the owner that the system results in a reasonable determination of the cost of energy use within dwelling unit. Second, testing and inspection of the energy allocation system may be required for the Commission to make such a determination. And third, testing and inspection of any furnace, appliance, or other equipment used in conjunction with energy allocation system may be also required. Fort Apartment LLC has contracted with Greystar Management System, Walton and Company, and Hobbs and Associates for the installation of an energy allocation system that will allow the owner of the apartment building to allocate to a tenant of an individual dwelling a portion of the cost of electric energy consumed based on usage. Fort Apartment LLC's initial applications contained all information required under Comma 2026, and subsequent data request responses has given staff no causes of concerns in regards of the system itself. The apartment building's construction is complete, and the use of energy allocation system would comply with requirements under relevant Comma provisions. Therefore, staff recommends that the Commission approve the energy allocation system for the 1401 Porter Street apartment building located in Baltimore, Maryland. Thank you.
Mr. Bugelmans.
Thank you, Chair Hoover. Commissioners, David Bugelmans on behalf of Fort Apartment LLC. Also joined this morning by Mr. Alex Mendel, who's the Director of Development from 28 Walker, the owner and developer of this apartment complex. Nothing to add to staff's presentation of Bucksheet. I will note that staff did conduct a site visit and confirm the accuracy of the system. Just want to thank staff for working with us on this. We're here to answer any technical questions you may have. Thank you for your consideration.
So, any questions from anybody? All right, seeing none, I move that we approve the energy allocation system at the 1401 Porter Street Apartments in Baltimore, Maryland. Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barve. Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
So now back to,
Items 3 through 7 are updated EV meter accuracy tariffs from the Potomac Edison Company, Baltimore Gas and Electric Company, Delmarva Power and Lake Company, Potomac Electric Power Company, and the Southern Maryland Electric Cooperative.
so why don't we have everybody who's got an interest in this maybe come to the table who's here, because we're going to try and handle it all as a package, so.
Oh, okay. Morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Michael Spiegelman on behalf of staff. This item concerns request filed on July 12, 2023 by Potomac Edison, Pepco, Delmarva, BGE, and Schmeco to update their respective EV meter accuracy tariffs in compliance with PC 44. The PC 44 electric vehicle supply equipment metrology subgroup case number 9478 developed recommendations with respect to metering regulations for EV charging stations, and in particular recommend that utilities establish procedure to address customer complaints regarding meter accuracy at EV charging stations. The subsequently filed Commission Order number 90587 dated April 13, 2023, directed that EV pilot utilities to file tariff revision within 90 days, containing a procedure for handling complaints about EV meter accuracy. Pursuant to the order on July 12, 2023, Potomac Edison, Pepco, Delmarva, and BGE filed proposed changes to their respective tariff to reflect recommended procedures for handling EVSE customer complaint related to meter accuracy. SMECO filed its proposed tariff revision on July 20, 2023. The companies ultimately revised their as-filed tariff language in agreement with Office of People's Counsel. Based on a review of utilities' proposed tariff language, including the changes agreed to between the utilities and OPC, and the discovery responses from Potomac Edison and Schmeco, staff has no concerns with the utilities' compliance with the order. The utilities' proposed tariffs change contain procedures how the utilities will handle complaints about EV meter accuracy as directed by the order. Thus, staff has concluded that proposed tariff revisions as agreed to between the utilities and OPC satisfy the Commission requirements that the utilities filed tariff revisions contains a procedure for handling complaints about EV meter accuracy, and staff recommends that the Commission accept the proposed tariff revision for the filing with an effective date of November 6, 2023 for BGE, Delmarva, Potomac Edison, Pepco, and Schmeco. Thank you.
So, any questions of staff? All right. OPC.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Mark Shebus for the Office of People's Counsel. I can be brief. We filed initial comments on September 18th, raising concerns with the tariff language as initially filed by the utilities. Prior to that letter, we were able to discuss our concerns with SMECO, and we agreed on changes to their tariff, which were reflected in that September 18th letter. Subsequently, we were also able to engage in conversations with the Exelon utilities and Potomac Edison, and we're able to agree with both of those utilities as well to changes to their proposed tariff revisions. And those changes are reflected in our letter dated October 27th. In clean form, the same language is in staff's updated buck sheet in red line form. Our initial concerns were main two concerns. One, we wanted to make sure that customers were being given adequate information as to how to make complaints. And second, we wanted to make sure that one of the guiding principles in the working group's report was reflected in the tariff language, namely that if a utility determined that in fact a customer was overcharged, the customer would be refunded. We think that the revised language that we've discussed with utilities addresses those concerns, and we appreciate the cooperation of all the utilities in working through these issues with us, as well as the cooperation of staff. And I'm available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions for OPC? So, Mr. Hartman.
Good morning. My name is Lanny Hartman, and I filed written comments, and I just wanted to briefly summarize those.
Sure.
As an EV driver, I've experienced some unusual billing situations over the years. For example, one time I got billed $550 for a short charging session in Hagerstown. Another time I was traveling through South Carolina, and went to a charging station beside a convenience store. It ended up not even working, but when I got home, I found a bill for $50 on my credit card. Both those situations took quite a bit of going back and forth to ultimately get refunds. More recently, I've had some situations with, discovered some meter irregularities with the BGE chargers. Down on Sharp Street back in March, I was charging and I noticed that the meter counter just wasn't keeping up with what I normally would expect. And it turned out it seemed to be off by a factor of about 10. I reported this to Shell Recharge, and I also, I didn't really hear anything for a while, and I reached out to PSC staff, and with their intervention, BGE went out and checked it, and my understanding is that they found that they agreed that the meter was off. Just a week and a half ago, this happened again. To my astonishment, I was in Glen Burnie, actually, and charging, and the meter wasn't turning at all. I went back out there a few days later and checked it with a car that has a better metering system, and determined that the car was getting electricity. The utility meter was counting it, but the charging station itself was not counting up. And I reported that to Shell Recharge last Monday. I contacted BGE via email last Wednesday. And it wasn't until yesterday that I got a response from Shell Recharge that stated they are investigating the reported issue. One more quick story is there seems to be some BGE and maybe other utility charging stations that are operating on free vend mode. Now, I understand that that some charger operators will configure their stations to dispense electricity for free if something goes wrong with the billing apparatus. I was at a charging station in Anne Arundel County. There were six plugs there. 4 of them were blocked. So the other one was seemed to be broken. There was something wrong with the screen. An employee there arrived and said, "Oh, you can use that if you have a RFID card," which I did. So I plugged in, but before I could get my card out, it immediately just started charging. I unplugged and I reported that issue. It happened to me again in Baltimore City by Roosevelt Park. There was a station, the screen was blank, and I thought, okay, let me see if this one will work with my RF. Once again, as soon as I plugged in, it spontaneously initiated a charge. I just make you aware of this. Of course, this is not an issue that, where I feel like I was overbilled or something, but I do want to make the commission aware of this because these who's paying for that electricity? And yeah, but I do have a couple of items, thoughts that I think that might help. Display prominently the contact information for how to report these issues. I put a photograph of the labels that are on the level 2 stations in my written comments for your reference. I've come across people that are kind of confused. They have an issue and they don't even see the phone number down there at the bottom to call. And establish a clear communication standards to inform users about the expected response time. Something like within 5 business days. I think right now the proposal is as soon as practicable. I'd like to see something more concrete, especially given my experiences with some miscommunications or delay, I feel, in getting a response. And with the possibility of setting these stations to default to dispensing free if there's something wrong with the station, I feel as a ratepayer, I would like to see the utilities come before the commission and get some green light for that before allowing that. So thank you for listening. I'm available for questions if you have any.
So, any questions for Mr. Hartman? Commissioner Sussman.
Well, I guess my question is because of the testimony of Mr. Hartman. So I guess I have two questions for the utilities. First, if you could talk about this dispensing of free electricity, and then I'd like to get a sense of whether there are dedicated employees within your companies that deal with EV charging issues when the calls are made.
Okay. Baltimore Gas and Electric. Or are you just speaking for BG&E or the?
I'm only speaking for BG. If there's
Sure.
questions directed to particular
Sure.
other utilities.
Yeah,
Joel Michelle on behalf of BGE. I'd first like to just commend Office of People's Counsel, Mr. Shebus, for his collaboration on reaching consensus on the tariff revisions. He could have waited to voice his objections to the original filing today, but I commend him for reaching out to us and working diligently to reach consensus. So I believe, in response to Commissioner Suchman's question, Shell Recharge, which is the vendor for BGE, I believe the same is true for PHI, is the first point of contact for any charger issues. We do have a dedicated individual within the company who works with Shell Recharge to resolve these issues, but Shell Recharge is sort of the vendor that a customer with a complaint would first reach out to and voice that concern.
And how quickly does Shell contact a BGE employee to the extent there's an issue with a charger?
Yeah, so my knowledge of that is limited, and unfortunately our subject matter expert couldn't make it today. But as far as I know, it all depends on the nature of the issue. If it's something that is a quick fix and the company doesn't need to get involved and Shell can resolve on its own, then that would take place sooner. If it's a more complicated issue that requires investigation and more than one exchange, then obviously it would take longer to resolve that particular concern.
And if it's a hardware issue, if it's a broken screen or a broken charger, who's responsible for getting that fixed?
So we, in addition to the services that Shell provides, we do have a additional third-party vendor that is contracted with to do the fixing. And again, my knowledge is limited in terms of the different types of solutions, but my understanding that there is sort of a spectrum of fixes. Some situations simply require a rebooting of the charger, so you turn it off and then you re-energize it, and it works. Other issues, like a broken screen, would obviously require that vendor to come out and replace the screen, so on and so forth.
Thank you. Okay, and then the second part, the free electricity.
That I cannot speak to. I have no idea.
Because that's the first I'm hearing about this, so I'm a little curious about what's happening there. And I'm wondering if it's just something that it's kind of a default and no one's really aware that this is happening, except for Mr. Hartman.
Yeah,
sort of taking
again,
advantage of.
yeah. Unfortunately, again, I wasn't prepared to address that given today's filing.
Actually, so Mr. Michelle, could you just ask your subject matter expert about both of those issues? And,
Absolutely.
And that would be very helpful for us to know.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Hoover, members of the Commission. Damon Krieger on behalf of Southern Maryland Electric Cooperative. Like Mr. Michelle, appreciate both staff and OPC's cooperation and alignment on our proposed tariff changes. I'll say SMECO's we've never received a metrology-related complaint, and so this is an ongoing learning opportunity for us. And so one thing to just take note of attached to staff's buck sheet was a fairly comprehensive operational procedure that we've put in place at the cooperative to try and facilitate any concerns that are voiced by users of our charging facilities. And again, it will be an evolving process because we never had a complaint. So if and when we receive a complaint, there's certainly going to be flexibility to adapt our processes to properly respond to users that may have concerns about accurate metering. And so with that, happy to entertain any questions. With respect to your two questions, Commissioner Sushman, I will say that we do have we're a small cooperative, and so we do have an individual that is dedicated to electric vehicle related matters. She would handle any concerns that are referred through Shell Recharge, which is also our vendor at the point of sale, or through our contact center. And typically, the first contact will go through Shell Recharge at the point of sale. If they can't handle it, and at least to date, the concerns are, we haven't received any metrology-related concerns. And so if there was a concern about metering, it would have been handled at the point of sale, as well as any other concerns regarding the operation of the vehicle charging station itself. If it can't be resolved at the point of sale, then it is referred to the main point of contact at SMECO for further investigation and resolution with the user of the facility. And I am not aware of any of our facilities dispensing free electricity. Thank you.
So, PHI.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Taylor Beckham here on behalf of PHI, Pepco, and Delmarva Power and Light. I do also have with me Vincent Nguyen, our Senior Manager of EV Programs, and I reiterate all the comments of all my colleagues up here about the alignment and the ability to get to a really great consensus position here on the tariff filings. To your two questions, Commissioner Suchman, similar responses. We too use Shell Recharge, and Shell Recharge is that first point of contact, and then if the issue is a little bit more complex, then the utility will get involved. Vince may be able to speak to the timing of that communication in terms of how quickly we're able to talk to Shell Recharge, but I think also similarly to the free electricity aspect of things, we'll have to look into that because we're not aware of that.
Yes. Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Vincent Nguyen, Manager of EV Programs, as Taylor stated, for PHI. First, I haven't had any instances of free charging that I'm aware of. If that were to occur, we would want to look into it and figure out why, but we haven't received any direct reports of that. As for the timing of reports, as was stated earlier, the issues that can be resolved by Shell Recharge at the point of contact with the customer, they do that and let us know. We meet with them at least weekly and get updates, touch points on anything that needs to be brought to our attention. Anything beyond that needs to be a physical repair, something more pervasive with the system, they'll bring that up to us about weekly, or one-off calls. They can reach us and they have contact points with us, so we can get our vendor, similar to BGE, out and aware of that to get a resolution in place as quickly as possible.
So, Commissioner Marve.
Yeah, actually, this is kind of a question relating to Shell Recharge. So I decided to go on the internet to Shell's website and look for recharge stations near where I live. They didn't note any, so I just started zooming out, and I'm now looking at the entire state of Maryland, and according to their website, they have no stations in the state of Maryland. So just want to point out that I've been trying for a while to drive my car to one of these to see if it works, and it would be nice to know where they are. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I can speak to that if you'd like. So we recommend one of the best platforms for looking that up is PlugShare. So if you go on PlugShare, you can search. They won't always come up as Shell Recharge. For us, they're going to be labeled as EV Smart stations, so that they can delineate and you can search for actually the stations associated with us rather than with Shell Recharge directly.
So you don't recommend using the Shell Recharge website?
I'm not familiar enough with their website to speak to it directly, because we try to direct everything through the websites that we use. Namely, PlugShare is the most reliable, and we have we have regular interactions with them to make sure that our newly commissioned sites are reflected there. But I can't speak directly to Shell's website at this time.
Okay, I'll check that out. Thank you.
Potomac Edison.
Good morning, Chair Hoover, Commissioners, Jeff Trout, Council to Potomac Edison. I apologize, I'm under the weather. 3 points. The first is, like my colleagues from the other utilities, I want to commend staff and the Office of People's Counsel, and particularly Mr. Sieberst. This is a model of coming to you with a consensus result that we all had time to work out, and as a result, we don't need to try to wordsmith on the fly in an admin hearing, and that's how it should be. And we were very happy to participate in that, and we look forward to continuing to work through that kind of a process as much as possible in the future. Second point is, like Mr. Krieger, our company has not had any metrology complaints to date, so we're designing something to meet a future hypothetical need, and given the way the universe is, I'm sure that the need will arise, and so it's not a wasted effort by any means. But it has been a rare event, I guess, that's the kind of problem that customers have. And we haven't encountered it yet, but probably we will at some point in the future. To my third and final point, Commissioner Suchman, you had two questions. The first was, how promptly will we respond if we do get a complaint? We will respond very promptly. We have a person who is poised to jump on that. Responding is not the same as resolving. If an investigation is required, we will take the time to do the investigation, but we will get back to the customer right away. And your second question was, what's this about free electricity? We are not giving out free electricity. We're not on Shell Recharge, we're on ChargePoint, and I am not aware that ChargePoint sets a default of if something's wrong, they just give away the electricity. But if they do, they aren't charging us for it. So if somebody's getting free electricity, it's not coming out of our program, and therefore from the ratepayer funds, it would be coming out of ChargePoint's pocket. And that's what we know as of now. And we will go back and make sure that there isn't something that ChargePoint hasn't been telling us, but that's what we know as of today. And if you have any other questions, I will do my best to answer them. And I also have Ms. Rinaldo here, who runs our program, and she knows a heck of a lot more than I do.
So, any questions for PE? Okay, so just so I understand, if we accept the tariff revisions, it includes the changes that were negotiated with OPC. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So let me make a motion that we accept the tariff revisions for filing with an effective date of November 6, 2023 for Potomac Edison, Baltimore Gas and Electric, Delmarva Power and Light, Potomac Electric Power Company, and Southern Maryland Electric Cooperative. Commissioner Suchman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbe. Aye. Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
I vote aye. And if I can make one informal request, to the extent of Mr. Hartman's interactions with charging stations and various companies, if the companies that he dealt with could talk to him and sort of, have your person contact him about the situation. I think he mentioned specifically BG&E and PE as two instances. So.
Sure thing, Chair.
Okay. So with that, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.